Hi there, I'm Angela Brown and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question and I get to help you find an answer. Today's question comes from a lady who is having company over and she wants to know what is the best method or the best routine for me to get ready for my house guests. Okay, so that's a great question. It turns out I chose this question to answer today because my parents are coming to visit me tonight. And so this was right on the front of my mind because I too have company coming tonight. So what is the best process for getting ready for guests? Okay, so the very first thing that you have to realize is that they're going to be coming from somewhere else. These are not people that normally live with you. So they may or they may not be familiar with your space. So you want to make sure that everything is set up for their comfort. So if you have a private guest room, you want to go ahead and you want to get the guest room ready for your guests. Now for me in my house, what this meant for me is that I was going to wash all of the linens that were on the bed to make sure that they were fresh and clean before my company arrives. So if you have an extra bedroom or a spare bedroom, that's a great idea. I would highly recommend washing the linens just to make sure everything is clean and fresh. Now, if that room has not been used in a while and it is reserved kind of as a guest room, this might be a great time just to go through and dust the room really quickly so there's not a big thick layer of dust over the top of everything. And you can do that with a wet paper towel, okay? You don't have to do anything fancy. Just a wet paper towel will go over the surface of everything. That will pick up all the dust and it will leave everything looking nice and clean. The next thing that I might recommend is if these people are staying over at your house for the night or for a week or a weekend or whatever, they're going to need to take a shower. So you want to make sure that your bathroom is clean and ready for the guests. And so when we go to hotels, what do we like to see at hotels? We like to see things we may have forgotten, like shampoo and soap and Q-tips and maybe a shower cap or something like that. I always buy a spare toothbrush. It comes in a little kit. It's got a toothbrush and toothpaste and a little shower cap and whatever that I like to leave for my guests. And I buy 10 or 12 of them at a time. And then if a guest comes and they forgot something, they're not embarrassed like, oh no, I can't brush my teeth for a couple of days unless Angela takes us to a store and I can buy a new toothbrush. They're inexpensive. Oh wait, there's one right here for you. And I just lay it out for them. And I always leave an extra razor out. Lots of people like to shave and lots of people forget their razors when they come, right? So there might be a few little nice things like that that you could do. I wouldn't go crazy and buy like matching shampoos and all that stuff. But I do want to make sure that there's a shampoo and a conditioner inside every shower that they're going to be using. Now, in my particular house with the company that I have coming this weekend, I have 2 guest rooms and I have 2 bathrooms that are going to be used. So in those 2 guest rooms and those 2 bathrooms, I want to make sure there are plenty of towels. I know when I go to a hotel and they give me like 1 towel and 1 wash rag. All right, thank you. The one is nice, but I like to use one for my hair after I get out of the shower because I've got really long hair. I want to make sure that I wrap it up and I make the little turban on my head and all those things, right? So I want to make sure that I have plenty of towels and that I have plenty of wash rags that are laid out for my guests. So that might be something that you would consider doing. So once your bathroom is set up, and I'm assuming that you're cleaning. If we didn't mention that, let's go ahead and mention that. When you come to someone else's house, you don't want to sit on their toilet germs. I won't be any more specific than that. But literally get down on your hands and knees and give the toilet a whole wash down. And don't forget that when you spray the toilet, the head of the toilet, the tank of the toilet seat, behind the toilet seat, the rim of the toilet, inside the toilet, around the outskirts of the toilet, the base of the toilet, let's not forget the handle, okay? Because lots of people touch that handle every single time they flush. So there are lots of germs on that handle. So make sure you clean the handle of your toilet. All right, other things that you might consider are right next to the toilet. You're a stranger in someone else's home. What do you use when you're at your own house in your own toilet area? So if those are wet wipes, if that's like some air spray in case there was, smelly things going on, let's have some of that there so that there are no surprises and so that they're not embarrassed. There's nothing worse than going in and stinking up somebody's bathroom and then not having any spray or anything to cover it up on your way out the door, right? So make sure that you have stuff like that that's going to prevent them from being embarrassed because you want them to feel welcome in your home. If you have females that come to your house that are of a certain age, you want to keep some feminine products available near your toilet, because there's nothing worse than having an accident and going, oh my gosh, I'm out of my own personal space. I didn't bring anything with me. I didn't think it was that time of the month. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then you're at a strange person's house and you're not comfortable enough to ask if they have any feminine products. So just keep them right there at the toilet. It's very easy, it's inexpensive, and it will prevent that embarrassment when your guests come over. Okay, so let's move on to the kitchen. When guests come to your house, they're going to be spending a lot of time in your kitchen. I don't know why, but it seems to be a place that people congregate. So if you're fixing a meal or whatever, there are hangout times that are going to happen in the kitchen. And so if you're a stranger in someone else's house, what do you want to see in the kitchen? So the very first thing when somebody comes to my house is I say, listen, everything's wide open. If you want something from the fridge, it's yours. If you want something from the coffee bar, it's yours. And I have a great big island in the middle of my kitchen. And so before company comes over, I have snacks. And these snacks are just out. They're displayed so that you can have any of these snacks that you want. And a lot of them are in airtight containers, like pretzels. I might have some cookies. I might have some chips. I have little tiny 4-ounce containers with Snap-on lids that have trail mix. There are things like that maybe even I don't eat them on a regular basis, but I have them for my guests. So that if they wake up earlier in the morning than I do or whatever, that they're not like, oh man, I'm so hungry. I wish she had something to eat. I don't feel comfortable opening her refrigerator. I don't want my guests to feel like that. And I'm sure you don't either. So if you have guests coming, leave some snacks out for them. And if they don't eat those snacks, they don't need to be refrigerated. They're not going to go bad. They're going to be fine for 2 days or 3 days or a week while your company is there, right? And so I just tell my guests right up front, everything is wide open. Anything you see, it's yours. Help yourself, make yourself at home. And then they do, right? They eat trail mix or they have a cookie or whatever. I want them to be comfortable. So even if it's not mealtime, even if they're not comfortable making themselves a sandwich, there are things that they can snack on. And so also make sure that if you have a coffee bar, I have a coffee bar. Lots of us have those Keurig machines. I like to put all kinds of stuff there. I've got all different kinds of herb teas. I have all different kinds of the little coffee cups. I've got a little display that has healthy choices. I do have sugar and I have creamer and stuff like that. But I also have like stevia and I have honey. If you prefer a healthier choice, I have that as well. And so make sure that you set up your house in a way that if you were at someone else's house, you would want it to be set up, right? And then make sure, no matter what happens, that you're flexible. I know that there are some people that have come over to my house and they're OCD. And so everything has to be a certain way. And they will like straighten everything and they will move everything. And a part of me is like, whoa, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. It's okay. But that makes them comfortable, right? And so you have to be a little bit loose. You have to be a little bit flexible. And if somebody starts rearranging all of your stuff and making it just oh-so, that's okay. In a minute, they're going to go home and you can put it back the way it is. So no. That's not how we do that here. I don't do it that way. Just let it go, right? They're a guest in your home. It's not a big deal. And so just be flexible and be open-minded. And then when they leave, you can put everything back to where it was the way that you enjoy it, right? All right, that's my tip for today. If you found this tip helpful, give us a thumbs up. And here's what I want from you. If you have a tip that you use when your house company comes over, make sure that you leave it in the notes below because I want to hear all about it, right? I love new ideas. Okay, this is a chance for us to share. And until I meet you again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.